Now that's nectar. When they cap it over like this, it has reached about 18–19% moisture, and they put that wax capping on it that can be dark or light in color, and they cap it so that it doesn't get any more moisture from the air into the nectar, and so that's called honey because it's at the right moisture content. What's up everybody, David Burns with you for another fantastic beekeeping video. Thank you so much for all your great comments. Thank you for subscribing. We've topped 42,000 subscribers and we're climbing up to 50,000 by the end of the year. And it's not even hardly July yet. I think it's July in a couple of days at the recording of the video. So halfway through the year, I think we're gonna top 50,000. I'm trying to think about what to do. You know, most YouTubers do something weird to celebrate reaching milestones of subscribers. Trying to figure out what to do when I reach 50,000 subscribers. No, I don't want to wear a bee beard of 50,000 bees. Not going to put 50,000 bees in my mouth, stuff like that. That's off the table. But if you have any ideas what I should do to kind of celebrate 50,000 subscribers, give me some ideas. I may choose yours. Today, you may remember this hive we actually went into last video, and we were looking for queen cells if they're going to swarm. Didn't see any. They look good, but I put a queen excluder below those two supers. The hive next to it, I'm a little worried. I got 3 supers on there. I need to know where the queen is. She's probably up doing her thing in my honey supers. So we're going to go in today and we're going to look to find her. And if we have to, queen excluder below my supers. And that's not all. I'm also going to do something that so many of you enjoyed and loved, and you told me you liked it and you want me to do it again. I pulled a frame out and I walked you through all the various things that you see on a frame. And so today I'm going to do that again. I'm going to pull a frame or two out. We're just going to walk through it. I'm going to show you what different things are that we're looking at. I think you'll really enjoy it. But before we get started on all of that, be sure and subscribe below. It will help me so much reach 50,000. Click on the bell so you'll be notified each time I make a new video. And we're changing it up a little bit too. Coffee time is going to be at the end of the video. After we do all the bee work, going to sit down, have a chat with a cup of coffee. All right, let's get started. What I want to find out in this hive today is where the queen is. So I have 3 supers on here because they looked like they were really bringing in some nectar. I didn't want to miss out on the honey flow. So what I'm going to do today is open this up, see if we can find our queen in these supers. If we do, what we're going to do is probably use the queen excluder. Why not? I'm not a real big fan of queen excluders, but at the same time, not a fan of having brood up in my honey supers either. So once these supers are built out, and especially if a lot of bees are up there, well, then you don't really have to worry about losing out on the honey flow if you've already got the frames drawn out if you put a queen excluder on. But if you put a queen excluder on a hive where they're not up in there and it's just undrawn foundation, then yeah, that's going to really discourage bees from going up through the honey super. Alrighty, I'm trying to do this today with minimal gear on. I got nothing on but a hat and a veil. And so a quick way to do this, let me look. Yeah, the queen is usually laying in the middle. And so, you know, to speed things up, so if we lift this hive up in the middle and she's on it, mission accomplished, our day is easy, right? But we don't know for sure, so we're just going to have to take a peek and see. I do like this J-hook hive tool. It is so handy for me to get these frames up out of the middle. Now this is a frame here that didn't have any foundation. I do that sometimes. No foundation in it at all. Let the bees make their own foundation, as you can see here. Sometimes you'll find the queen on those brand new pieces of frame like that, brand new comb. I'm looking for eggs and I don't see any. So I'll get in the camera here. I can look at those open cells of that new comb, and that tells me if the queen is up there, because man, would she want to lay right there. But I still have to look at everything to make sure she's not up there. So I don't see her. I'm going to leave this out and park it over here just for a second to give me a little more room to work my other frames. And this is where a lot of beekeepers start getting lost in their inspection and start getting stung a little later, because they go back in the hive. Well, see what I do, I smoke it again. Why not? I want to be able to work this hive for a little bit of time and not have to battle getting stung, and I don't like getting stung. Does anybody who likes being stung? I mean, it's okay. I don't die, fortunately. I don't cry, but I don't like it. I think this frame may have brood on it. It seems like it. I'm looking down from the top, but let's take a look. When I grab a frame, I'm always looking to make sure there's no bee that's on the little lips where I need to pick it up and hold it. All right. Well, what do we got here? Interesting. I don't believe I see any eggs, which is so nice. And I see nectar starting to be dropped in these cells. If you remember, I added this not too long ago, maybe a week ago. Okay, so this hasn't been on there. I spun the honey out and I just put the wet super back on. A frame like this that has no foundation in it, the bees will make their own comb, and so I like to do that. And I have a lot of comb honey, actually. Look at that. Then I've got it in the freezer. I've made so much, but that's kind of cool. They'll do a good job making that. You don't want to do every frame, or they'll build cross comb this way instead of the way it should go. But every other one will keep it on track so that you can make some comb honey. And man, I think comb honey is so cool. I used to eat comb honey as a kid. I used to ask my mom if I could buy comb honey back in the 60s. They made it in jars with the honey, and I would chew that wax. Gosh, it was good. I've been a honey fan from the 60s. Yeah, I've been a fan of honey since 1960, the year I was born. All right, this is a good frame to look for eggs on, or the queen, because it's drawn out nicely, and it has a potential to have a queen laying in there. That's what we're wanting to make sure isn't happening. Fortunately for us, there's nothing but nectar up here. You miss the queen, and now you're looking all the way through the bottom, and you make your way back up to the top, and you have to find out that she was up here. Well, even though I just put this on a week ago, look at that. They're already starting to cap it over. Look at that. Wow. I'm impressed. I'm happy. That's Clover honey from Clover. We have a lot of Clover. Beautiful. All right, let me look for eggs. Nope, no queen, no eggs. All right, so this means that this super on the very top is being treated the way that we want it to be treated, as a honey super, and not a place for the queen to lay in. I want to talk to you about one of the things that I have observed as of late. I think I've always noticed it, and that is if you put a frame back in a different spot, the bees are much more noisier when you introduce the frame to a different spot. Now, I don't know if there's any truth to that. It just seems like to me that I've noticed that. And I thought about why that could be, is because maybe they're used to that particular progression of workers that are on that frame. And when you move another frame somewhere else, then it changes maybe the age of the workers or the location of what they want in a certain place. I don't know. That's just something to think about. All right. Oh boy, here's another one. Oh, by the way, when you see comb on top like this and mixed with a little propolis, pretty good indication that this is a strong colony that's building out. What I'm talking about is this right here. Okay, so there, we looked at all these frames and we don't see any sign of a queen in this super. So we're going to take this one off and go deeper yet. Man, I'm bending my hive tool. It must just be so glued down with propolis. This is going to be heavier because it's mostly filled up with nectar. Got a lot of good resources in this one. Let's lift her off. You want to lift slowly, like that. Because I don't want to get stung because I'm only wearing a flimsy hat and a veil. All right, now this is where we want to be. This is a telltale sign right here. Where is the queen? There's a drone. Here's what a drone looks like. Yeah, there's Mr. Drone. Go fly away. Ah, there he goes. All right. So we'll do the same thing. We're going to pull out the middle frame to see if we have any sign of a queen. Pretty windy today. My smoke is not making it down into the super because the wind is blowing it away, but I'm going to keep working it because I need smoke. Smoke can be the beekeeper's best buddy. Best friends for life. I'll be so happy if I don't see the queen. Now, you're going to go with me one more down if we don't find the queen? I mean, do we need to make sure there's a queen in here? That's kind of an issue, isn't it? Like, well, why wouldn't the queen be up a little higher if we have a queen at all? Could we be queenless? Why not just take a look for the queen since we got this thing torn open? Well, good. This will tell us a lot. Now, this is a brood frame. And we found brood in this super. Am I mad about that? Nah, not really. I'm just happy it wasn't in the top two. Do you see what I'm looking at here? Capped over brood. Check for queen. Negative. So we know we have a queen. We don't really care if she's down in the deep. So I'm not going any deeper. Sorry. If you wanted to, that's another video. But what I'm going to do is just see if I can find the queen in this super. And if I do, I'm going to move her down and exclude her down into the bottom deeps. A lot of heat coming out of this hive. It got 91 degrees here yesterday. It was warm. Oh, that's a beautiful queen laying pattern. Gosh. Oh my gosh. Beautiful laying pattern. The queen has been here, but she's not there now because most of that is capped over pupa. I'll put it back in the incubator where it's nice and warm in there. Pupa, capped over pupa, does need to stay about 90, 92 degrees. So don't hold it out too long. Even in a cooler summer day, you can have chilled brood. Oh, this is just a frame of nectar. I would thought the queen would have taken over the whole super, but apparently she's on just a few frames. I'll be darned. Interesting. Making our job harder to find her because we have a frame of brood and a frame of brood and a frame of nectar. Let's go this way and see what happens. Need to smoke it again. A lot of bees in here, so we're going to smoke again. Am I worried about driving the queen down into the deep below it by smoking it? Not really. If it happens, it happens. Oh, this is pretty lightweight, so it's got brood on it. Mm-hmm. Nope, it's just a frame of nectar. Frame of nectar rarely has the queen on it. But this is a frame of brood. Rarely has the queen on it unless it just happens to be the queen's laying on the edge or the little comb at the bottom. But nope, no queen is going to be found on this frame unless some of you on the video watch it and find her. I don't see her. I'm going to set this here. I'm going to smoke it again just so that I can keep working them. They're not foraging yet as early as they could be. It's still pretty early in the morning. And so some of them just haven't got into the heavy foraging hour of the day yet, which is usually around 10 or 11 for me. Oh, this is too heavy to have a queen on it because it's going to just be nectar. Nectar frame. No queen. Hard to find a place to put my fingers. A nectar frame. Mm-hmm. And no queen. Is that a small hive beetle? I'm going to say yes and kill it. Yeah, it might have just been pollen. I don't have time to look. All right, so, oh boy, we're going to do something I didn't want to do. We're going to go deeper. All right, well, we got a little bit harder of a job to do now, so I'm gloving up just for the sake of time. I can work a little faster with my gloves on because I don't have to worry about going so slow. But I've got a lot of boxes. I've got 2 supers over here on the ground. I got a super here that we feel pretty confident the queen isn't there, but we need to take it off, see if we can find the queen in the next deep. And we're kind of at our maximum time on how long we can keep these hives open. And so since we've had them open for quite a while, the risk factor of getting stung is higher. Oh, that's heavy. Let's pull out the middle frame. See if we see brood on this middle frame. The gloves that I'm wearing are sting proof. I don't know, I would say they're 100%, but pretty darn close to 100% sting proof. They're so thick. This is like a honeycomb. It's got some brood on it. Good brood pattern. Take us to your leader. I'm scanning, looking for the queen, trying to see if I see a queen. I don't. A good brood pattern, my gosh. I know, it's insane to see that kind of wonderful brood pattern. Very good. Well, let's keep looking. Everything is going pretty good. So might as well keep looking for the queen. When I say everything's going pretty good, I mean the bees are being pretty gentle. Boy, I tell you, smoking a hive like I'm doing here, it is insanely effective. If we had not smoked this hive, we would be getting stung so much. Now before I lift it, I smoke it again. This is just a frame of honey, a frame of nectar. I don't see any eggs or brood on it. Of course, I do on this side, a combination of everything. This would be a good one to make sure the queen isn't on. Nope, I don't see her. So we're going to go the other way looking for the queen. And boy, do they need smoked. I got about 5 or 6 bees that are in the investigation mode, like flying around the hive saying, okay, what's going on? I'm going to look around and see what's going on. And if I don't like it, I'm going to give a full report to the rest of my girls that we don't like you anymore. Yeah, this is cool. This is the frame that has capped over worker bees here, capped over drones down here. This taller type of cappings that you see are drones. Again, I don't see the queen there. Gosh, it's a lot of cap brood in this hive. They are doing so well, laying, reproducing, making so many great bees in the future. Every frame, every deep frame like that has approximately 7,000 cells on it. So out of 7,000 cells, every time those bees emerge out of a deep frame, you are almost getting a package of bees. A package is 10,000 bees. A deep frame has 7,000 cells. So you see what I'm saying? Every cell, every deep frame produces about almost a package. That's crazy, isn't it? All right. This is going to be honey, isn't it? Isn't this just going to be a frame of nectar and honey? I think my queen is really low where I want her. No, it's light. She could be on this. You pick it up, you tell it's light. You're like, oh, it's a light frame. It could have eggs in it. Oh, it does have eggs. Very much does have eggs. It has a little queen cell, or that's actually a queen cup. It doesn't become a cell until it's capped over. Anybody see the queen? Come on. Nope. Let's try the other side. Same thing on this side. A lot of eggs. The queen could be over here. Wouldn't it be nice if we knew where she was? The advantage of knowing where she is, she gives us the privilege of knowing what to do with those supers, how to use a queen excluder or not, when to use one. These bees are pretty crowded on here, especially over in the corner. This is where it's easy to miss a queen. I don't see her. Did she slip over here when we rotated it? Nope. I see some drones, but I don't see a queen. I wonder if anything is in this queen cup. No, the queen cup is entirely empty. I'm going to leave that frame out just long enough. Better put it back here to look at the one next to it. And we're going to smoke. See how the bees are rising up on the top? So I start smoking high to run them down a little bit. I think my smoker, yeah, it's about out. Oh boy. I'm going to look at one more frame and call it good. It's got to be all nectar. It's too heavy to have a queen on it. Nope, all nectar. All right, a lot of bees are coming up, so we're going to just have to abandon looking for the queen because I can tell the bees are done. I've got to go get more smoker fuel. We're pretty confident that the queen is pretty darn low in this box. She wasn't in that deep, so she's got to be in that lower deep. But since we were not able to put eyes on her, we're going to use a queen excluder. And that way what we can do is we can come back in a couple of weeks and make sure, 100% sure, that we did not accidentally exclude her into the top. So that's why I just want to go ahead and put that queen excluder on here. I like the plastic one. Some people say, you know, what's better, plastic or metal? Plastic is just easier. I have used metal. You know, that's all we had for a long time, but I like metal. I mean, I like plastic. But I'm ready to put this hive back together again, and I think they're ready to have their hive put back together again so that all of God's people can be happy. I've exhausted their time of feeling comfortable being opened. All right, everybody, so as promised, I want to show you a frame, and we'll walk cell by cell to help you identify a lot of things that are happening. Let's see, what do I want to show you? What do I want to show you? Well, first of all, I'm going to use my little knife here as a pointer. You'll see here, these cells, they have a glistening liquid in there. Now that's nectar. They haven't capped it over yet. When they cap it over like this, it has reached about 18–19% moisture, and they put that wax capping on it that can be dark or light in color, and they cap it so that it doesn't get any more moisture from the air into the nectar, and so that's called honey because it's at the right moisture content. So you can see here, these are all capped over of nectar, which now we call honey because it is of the proper moisture content. Does that make sense? And so if you look at it and you think, well, look at this. This would be interesting. Like, look up here. You see how this could almost look like brood because it's the color. Well, don't be fooled by the color. I assure you that if we were to pierce, we would see honey. See how there's honey in there? Yeah. But on the other hand, over here, this is brood. And you can tell just because it looks like it has more texture to the cap is more texture. And if we were to tear open a cap, we would see that there is a pupa. See how actually the capping is really made of material that's different. It's more of a cocoon type top. And you see the pupa there. So if you look here, more things we can see. Look at this. Look at this yellow stuff. You know what the yellow stuff is? It's pollen. Let me see if I can scoop some of this pollen out on the tip. You'll see what it is there. Yeah, there's the pollen that they've poked in there. And so let's see what they do if we just lay it there. Nothing yet. So we have the basic elements of the frame. These are cells that nothing has been done with yet. These are cells with nectar. These are cells with honey. And of course these are cells over here with brood. And we kept our queen in a different spot. So all these cells you see capped here are laid from the queen that we marked in the little nuke box. That's really cool. Look at this. Here's a cell here that's getting ready to be capped over. It's probably almost dry enough now to be capped over. And so they'll keep working their way. See how, I'll show you, see how large these are opened? And look how small this is opened. That's because they're drying it out and capping along this edge. And so as they move out, they'll cap more and more over when they're dry enough. And that's what the little small caps are. It means that they just are now starting to cap it over. Yeah, some people look at this. this coloration here and wonder, you know, why is it discolored? Why is it sort of brown? And why is it sort of see-through or clear? Some people call this blue. I get a lot of questions about this area right here. What is that dark area that's kind of blue? That's just wax cappings. It's no problem. All of this is just different shades of wax. It appears to me that this wax here just has so much nectar, honey right underneath of it, that it's just a thin layer of cappings. This could be a little more thick. Yeah. There's a bee working on that pollen. Let's see what she does with it. We picked that pollen up and laid it there. Yeah, she got tired of messing with it. Oh no, she had it underneath of her, I see. And she got that little piece that I picked up. Bees are pretty organized. They like to keep everything tidy. So it's fun to watch what they do with stuff. There's a fly because it's on the picnic table, and the bees will continue to scurry it along. It's just trying to get a bite of nectar. So get out of here. They're still working on the pollen over here. They could be eating the pollen, or they could be wanting to move it to a place, but it looks like they're chowing down on it. Yeah, but I just want to show and clarify that some of the nectar caps can be a lot of different shades of color. So this is just really dark. I mean, let me back up a little bit. It's like, it looks like old comb. It looks like greasy brood. I mean, you know, it really does. It looks like brood, but I assure you that it's just capped over honey. If we look down in there, all we see is just capped over honey. See that? So don't be fooled if you see some really dark caps over some of those frames. I mean, you got to know the difference, but that's why I'm showing you this. Again, this is more the brood, but so we have light colored, kind of a brownish color cappings. You can even have really, here's some over here. Look at these, how white or different color this capped over nectar is compared to this colored nectar. But look how dark, let me show you, look how dark the wax is compared to how light the wax is here. That's the difference. All right. Wow, that was awesome. Getting into the hive, showing you things going on in the bee yard. I hope you enjoy it. And if you're not keeping bees, by the way, 2021 could be the year that you start beekeeping. A little too late this year in 2020. But next year you can order your stuff in January, your bees, your hive and everything. Get started in 2020. Whenever spring rolls around for you, that's when we get the bees and put them in the hives. And so if you haven't started beekeeping, it's my passion to encourage you to do that. Beekeeping is so important. We need our honeybees to pollinate our crops and vegetables. Man, do we need honeybees for pollination. So you can help out so much if you do that. So consider becoming a beekeeper. The book that Sherry and I wrote will help you so much if you're a new beginner. Backyard Beekeeping. We were contacted by a publisher in the fall, and they asked Sherry and I to write this book. We accepted. Goes on sale January the 7th in bookstores, but right now it's available pre-order on Amazon. So check that out in the link below. We'd love for you to get a copy of the book. We have online courses too. Whether you're an experienced beekeeper or brand new, these online courses can really help you become a better beekeeper. I'll provide the links below. So thanks so much. Well, I wanted to spend some time drinking my coffee with you. Some of you really enjoy doing this. I'm putting it at the end like this so that you can bail out if you got what you came for and you don't want to talk. Just, I'm leaving, I got to go. But if you want to sit around and talk, I'll have a few minutes of coffee time because I got some things I want to share with you. And of course, I love drinking coffee, and it is so fun. Last weekend, I had a chance to spend over in Iowa on another hobby that I'm involved with. It was a fun time in Iowa, and I've talked to several of you beekeepers in Iowa, and I think I even have some Bee Team 6 members in the state of Iowa. So it's good to be home. I got so tired. It was so hot over the weekend, but it's good to be home. Today, we have a huge rain front moving in, and it is just like going to be a lot of rain. We have some flash flood warnings around and all. But what I've noticed is there's a lot of clover. Fortunately, here in Illinois, clover is our main source of nectar during the summer. We don't really have much else to speak of. You know, we're a corn and soybean state, and so bees do not go to corn at all unless they just have to get the pollen, which, you know, corn is air pollinated, wind pollinated. And soybeans, yeah, bees will go there. Clover or soybeans, they're going to go to clover. I mean, they love white Dutch clover. And it is all over our yard, our acreage here. We're just covered in clover this year, and the bees are working it feverishly to get it all in time for winter. So our clover will dry up once the rains slow down and it gets really hot, probably August. But if it keeps raining, then the clover stays pretty active. We keep mowing it and it makes new heads of clover. So I think if you just let it grow, it doesn't produce as many new heads. So it's important to mow it occasionally. So we have to stagger different parts of our yard. You know, we mow that part. We live on about 4 or 5 acres, so we'll mow some of it, let the clover get tall, then we'll mow that, and we'll let that get tall. We like staggering it that way. It's a good deal. What is beekeeping meant for you? I don't know what you have felt that beekeeping has contributed to your life, but it has been so rewarding for me in 2 areas. One, it's been rewarding in the people that I've met. Over the last 20 or 30 years, I've met so many sincere, good people in beekeeping. So we're overwhelmed by just the kindness and generosity, the friendships we've established with other people that are beekeepers. Wow, it's a great hobby if you're looking to associate with other people and kind of have some camaraderie, some friends. Now, with the pandemic, that's been lessened, of course, because not much in the way of bee clubs and mentors and all. That's a little tougher. That's why I'm making this coffee time, because I know some of you just can't get out much and talk to people like you'd like to. So maybe this kind of provide a little bit of chit chat that's refreshing. But anyway, I think it's great to be a beekeeper because of the interaction you have with other people, other beekeepers. The second thing that's really helped me so much is just staying very active and very busy with your mind, thinking and strategy and focusing on what you're going to do tomorrow. That's really fun. Some of you are retired, and when you retire, if you're not careful, there's not a lot to do. You can become bored. You're not as active physically anymore. Sometimes, not everybody, but you know what I mean. It's possible that once you retire, you don't do as much, or you don't have as much motivation to do things. Well, beekeeping can really be that fill in the gap of activities for you to stay motivated. There's always something to do in the bee yard. You can paint your hive, you can work your hive, you can read books about beekeeping, you can stay active. You know, there's so much to do with beekeeping that it's very healthy for us. I think it's healthy not just because we interact with other beekeepers and stay connected with people, but I believe it's extremely healthy for us to stay very active with our mind. it's mindfulness. If you're into mindfulness, if you're into being more aware, more conscious of who you are as a person, it really helps us connect with nature. It relaxes us, it calms us. Now, some of you handle beekeeping, I believe, the wrong way, in that you let it stress you out. Oh, my queen, oh, my bees, oh no, is she okay? What is this? You know, you're hyper about everything going wrong with your bees, and I don't want you to do that. It's just beekeeping, you know, so it's not a huge thing to get all worked up about. So stay very calm and enjoy bees. And if something goes wrong with beekeeping or with your hive, then you can just either start over, or you can, you know, regroup and approach, solve a problem and keep going. But I really think it's important that we enjoy bees. Like, why not set up a chair, get a glass of lemonade or tea on a nice summer afternoon or evening, and just admire the bees going in and out, working like they do, and just have a lot of respect for bees, because there are 40 to 60,000 bees in that hive that essentially all get along. They all get along so well that they're called a super single organism. That's incredible. And I've thought about humans and the human race, and how challenging it is for humans to get along, isn't it? For the most part, I think we do a pretty good job. Boy, if you look though in history, we haven't done a very good job. There's been so many wars and so many divisions, so many challenges, and that's too bad. That's too bad. I think one day we'll get to a place where we respect one another, we are kind to one another, we love one another, we help each other out. Gosh, why can't we do that? We would be so much better off. So we learn a lot from watching the bees. It relaxes us. It gives us a chance to get our minds off of all the world problems, because when you go in your backyard and you watch your bees busy at work, it's just so refreshing. Now, I'm not going to tell you not to watch the news, because I shouldn't tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But for me, I have essentially stopped watching most news. I have very limited contact with the news, just enough so that I know what's going on in the world. But I don't sit there and read every article and watch every video of somebody getting hurt or injured or fighting or burning. And I don't do that. I once did that. I had to really stay connected with world events, but I don't have to do that anymore. And I've chosen not to. A very limited contact. Sometimes people come up to me and say, "Did you hear about that?" And I'm like, "No, actually I didn't." We are kind of intrigued. We're drawn to news that we haven't heard yet, and we're drawn to bad news, which is really sad. I really like good news. I prefer good news, good things. I like that a lot. And so bees are like that. When you watch bees about their job and working all day long, gosh, it's so neat. How do 60,000 bees get along? Well, they know they have to. They know that since they are one single organism, that if they don't all work together well, it'd be a catastrophe. It will be over. And that's something I think we as people need to learn as well, that we will destroy ourselves if we can't get along. It eventually come back and we will destroy ourselves. And so we learn so much from the honeybee, how they interact, how they get along. It's so intriguing. So I don't know, I think if bees can do it, maybe we can do it as people. Find a way to get along, be kind, encourage one another, help each other out. Gosh, it's nice to do that, isn't it? I think so. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Coffee time for me. And I look forward to being with you again. Thanks so much for watching my beekeeping videos. I do appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe and check out our new book. I'll see you next time. Gosh, that's still just, I don't know what to say. It's the best coffee in the world.